Hi, I'm Craig Gregseger from Wood Magazine. In this video, I'm going to show you how to sharpen and use a cabinet scraper. It's one of the simplest and frankly one of the most effective tools you can have in your shop. It's perfect for smoothing out mill marks or, for example, on a glued up panel where a joint line might not be perfectly aligned. A cabinet scraper can make quick work out of smoothing things out. On this piece of oak, I intentionally ran it over the jointer very quickly to make some mill marks so you can see exactly how bad this piece looks, and after a few strokes I can pull off these fine shavings and the surface is almost ready for finish. The secret to a cabinet scraper is really just a tiny little burr right along the edge. You can't really see it with your naked eye, but you can feel it with your thumb, and that burr acts like a plane blade, pulling off scrapings and smoothing the surface. So let me show you the secret to sharpening a cabinet scraper. It's really very simple. All you need is a file and something to burnish or roll over the edge to create the burr. You can buy burnishing tools for about 30 bucks, or you can probably go to your toolbox and find a screwdriver with a round shaft to it. First thing you're going to do is clamp the file snugly in the vise. And then what you're going to do is take the existing burr off each edge of the cabinet scraper with a couple of quick strokes. Simply up in here, back and forth, do the opposite face. And while we're doing this, we might as well do both edges too and give ourselves two cutting edges. Now that I've got the burr removed, I'm going to square up this edge to this face. That's simply done by putting the scraper on the vise and a few strokes back and forth. One hand presses down on the vise, the other hand applies some inward pressure onto the file. And again, do the opposite side. Now doing that has probably raised a small wire burr here, so go back, turn it on upright, buff it on the file, remove that little wire burr to give you a nice square edge. Now those edges are clean, take the file out of the vise, clamp the scraper in instead. Just leave a ½ inch or so above the vise. This is one spot where I like to put on a pair of gloves. What we're going to do is take the shaft of the screwdriver and drag it along here. You need to apply a significant amount of pressure, and I found there's been some times where I've slipped a little bit. I've never cut myself, but I've come close enough to know that gloves are a good idea for a bit of protection. You simply start at one end, angle the screwdriver shaft a little bit. What we're going to do is essentially squash some of this metal off onto the side to create a little tiny cutting burr. So with the screwdriver angled, apply some pressure down, draw it back and forth a few times, then angle it the other way and do the same thing to raise a cutting burr on the opposite face. Take your glove off so you can gauge your progress. You'll be able to feel the burr starting to form. It's beginning to, but it's very small. A few more strokes. Okay, there I can start to feel a little bit of the burr. It kind of catches my thumbnail. So the real test is going to be how it performs. Got a piece of oak that I ran this through the jointer really fast to give me some mill marks, and I've rubbed it with green chalk, which I wouldn't recommend you do with your workpieces, but the green chalk will help you see these mill marks a little bit better on the video so you can see the progress we're making with the scraper. Now there's two ways you can use this scraper. One is by pushing, one is by pulling. By pushing, you flex it just a little bit with your thumbs in the middle and push it forward. You'll feel the scraper start to bite. What you're looking for are little curly shavings, just kind of like they came off of a plane. You'll have to play with the angle a little bit to find where the scraper works best biting into the wood. Now I find the pushing cut, I get more power because I kind of put my weight down on the scraper as I work. Problem is you see it kind of catches once in a while because I'm pushing out with my arms. If you need a little more control, turn around and pull toward you. In this instance, I again flex the scraper a little bit, but I keep my arms pretty much stiff and pull it back with my whole body just to get a smoother, consistent motion. There you can see it's just coming at a consistent speed. It doesn't catch or jump on you. Now, one thing to be aware of when you're using a scraper is there's a lot of friction going on here, so the scraper can get uncomfortably hot if you're doing quite a bit. So you may want to consider putting gloves back on before you do the scraper, just to keep your hands from getting singed. Now let's see what kind of progress I've made just using a scraper on this, no sandpaper. Rub the chalk back on here. And you can see this is quite a bit smoother than where we started.